The McLaren 570S is a car that's taken its maker into new, more accessible territory, offering a supercar feel to buyers who might previously have expected to have had to settle for something less. The Woking maker claims it's easy to live with, yet dramatic to drive, and as a result wants this model to attract a wide circle of buyers. Should you be one of them? Let's find out.
You expect an experience from a car like this, and in this McLaren, you get it. Push the starter button, and that 3.8 litre twin-turbo V8 Outback barks gruffly into life. On the move with 570 braked horses to push you along with just 1,313 kilos of weight, thanks to this car's strong but lightweight carbon fibre chassis tub, performance is startling. Okay, so the V8 engine, which is installed out back for the kind of perfect mid-mounted configuration that some rivals do without, it's not the most tuneful power plant of its kind, but it delivers an astonishing punch with the 62 miles an hour sprint dispatched in supercar style. It occupies just 3.1 seconds, and on a deserted autobahn, this McLaren won't ease up until it reaches a maximum of 204 miles an hour. Brilliant, feelsome electro-hydraulic steering plays a big part in making this 570S good on the twisty stuff too, or at least it is in the dry. The lack of a four-wheel drive system and a limited slip differential that some rivals offer can make it a bit of a handful in the wet if you're not careful. The standard carbon ceramic brakes offer brilliant stopping power too. Whatever the surface though, to get the best from your car, you're going to have to get familiar with the various available driving modes. Press this centre console active button and two rotary controllers, one for handling and one for powertrain, give you selectable normal, sport and track options. As well as varying exhaust note, these affect steering feel, stability control thresholds and gear change timings from the 7-speed dual-clutch paddle-shift transmission. The rotary controllers alter ride quality too via an adaptive damping system that, in its softest normal setting, is surprisingly good at soaking up the bumps. That's one of the things that makes this car so day-to-day usable. It'll cost plenty to run though, of course. In theory, you can eke out a combined fuel consumption figure of 26.6 mpg from this car. In practice, forget about it. And that same goes for the 249 grams per kilometre CO2 rating. Well, if this isn't a supercar, then what is? The dihedral doors that have featured on every McLaren road car since the iconic F1 model of the 1990s represent the most eye-catching piece of pavement theatre, but even when you close them, the effect remains striking. Move in profile and you start to get a feeling for what McLaren has been trying to do here. As a sports model rather than an exotic supercar, the 570S had to be everyday usable, which is why you've got a much larger side glazed area than you'd normally expect from a model of this kind. There's even an alternative GT version of this car with extra rear storage space accessed through a glass hatch that's housed in revised rear bodywork. If you go for that though, you lose these unique floating C-pillars and the lovely rear flying buttresses that are separated by the concave rear screen. You do though still retain much of this look if you go for the open-topped Spider model, which features an electrically retractable roof panel that can operate in just 15 seconds at speeds of up to 25 miles an hour. Right, time to tackle one of these dihedral doors and take a seat inside. Now they open using a button tucked beneath the bodywork, then they hinge up and outwards in this elegant arc. Now they lift higher than is the case with more exotic McLaren models, plus this forward section of the door sill has been dropped by 80mm to try to help to facilitate a more dignified entry and exit. And once inside, well, this may be in McLaren terms something of a volume model, but it's still very evidently handcrafted. Each car taking a team of 370 highly trained technicians, 188 man-hours to build. You sit low and comfortably on the grippy seat, grasping this chunky three-spoke wheel. Through the wheel, you view no dials. There's just this TFT screen, the left-hand side of which can be customised with readouts for things like trip data and navigation instructions and ride height settings. Anything else that you need to know will almost certainly be covered by this infotainment screen that dominates the upper part of the centre stack. Finally, let's have a look at boot space, which in 570S models is all concentrated under the bonnet. Now, this compartment is 144 litres in size, which of course is pretty small, but probably large enough to take a medium-sized travel case. You won't find a sports car that does a better impression of a supercar than this McLaren 570S. You get most of the feedback, the excitement and the involvement that comes with a car of that kind, but in a model that's far more sensible in terms of price and everyday practicality. It's a British sports car to take on the world.